Welcome back to the Skid Factory, where today we're going to get the Iron Lion to roar into life.
Is that a dad joke?
I am a dad. It was a good one. Woody is editing the next episode for you guys today, so I'm working on the exhaust solo, so excuse the camera work. I've started with the Y pipe where it's going 2 into 1. We will be running a single 3-inch exhaust on this vehicle just because I want to, and I reckon they sound better with a 3-inch exhaust. Single on a 308, but it can be a bit of a thong slapper, these things, so that's where I'm going to go. We're going to run 2 mufflers on it, one at the back of the car, one in the middle. Having that Commodore fuel tank in there gives us a bit of space at the back, so we can do that. So twin 2.5 inch, a couple of catalytic converters there. I've used the cats to drop down from the 3-inch collector through the cat into 2.5 inch. I'm sort of making it up out of bits and pieces I've got lying around actually, because I'm a bit low on pipe stock, but it'll still do the job. So I'm going to pull that off and finish welding it and put a flange on it, and then move on to the 3-inch section of it. You can see I've got a pretend tail shaft in there because I don't have the tail shaft yet, and I don't want it to get in the way of it, so I just cut a piece of stainless steel and slipped it over. Not an uncommon thing to have to do when you're building a car. Saves you having to remake things later. It's the front pipe done. 2 cats, collector, flange. I've flanged it there just to make it easier on myself. You'll see I've cut this to size and just tacked it in there. When you have this 2 into 1 set up and there's a collector here, as soon as you weld in here, this whole thing will just shrink and close in. So you just cut a flange, cut something there, or clamp it. If you do it on the car, it'll probably just bend the extractors in, so I prefer to do it like this. I took a measurement off the header, the 2 flanges, the distance between them, and then I actually bent this till it was in the correct size because it had already contracted a bit just from tacking it, and just cut this and just gave it a couple of little tacks on there. You can go actually slightly bigger on it just to spread it apart because it will probably pull in once you knock that out of there. It's a good way of saving yourself a headache. Just going to give that a bit of a coat of black paint and bolt it back on, and then move on to the rest of the exhaust. Alright, so I've spent a reasonable amount of time on this. That's the easy bit of straight pipe. I actually clearance the floor a little bit here because that's more practical than making 12 different bends to go around it. There's one of our mufflers. The other muffler is at the back there. I've got 2 because I don't really want this thing to be ridiculously loud, because it already will be. And here's the hard part when it comes to a HQ to WB. It's also hard to see because light. The design of the suspension arms and everything on these things makes it incredibly difficult to run a large pipe through. We've spent heaps of time, or I have, getting that in over the top there. I've got I've actually taken the springs out and the shocks off, and I've got that suspension's fully compressed now. So you pretty much have to build it fully compressed and run it through its range, because there's so little room to get that piping through there. They do off the shelf 2.5 inch over pipes, but even then they're even tight. These things had very, very small exhaust from factory, so it wasn't really ever a problem. They might have had a 2-inch exhaust if they're lucky. So now I'm going to do a little bit more welding. I like to weld it a bit more on the car, not just rely on the tacks, because when you weld, it does pull things around a lot. So I like to do it before I pull it out of the car, just run sort of half welds around every joint if I can reach it. So I'll do that now, and then we'll pull it off and finish it and paint it and put it back on and get rid of it out of our lives.
What up, Chooch?
You're just in time.
Looks like I rocked up at a good time, eh? All the hard work's been done.
Yeah, now you get to get black paint up your nose.
You want me to paint it?
I sure do.
Is that like a pain? Is that going right over the top? Did you film it?
Yeah, I did.
That face looks like a no.
I did film it.
Okay.
You'll have fun editing it.
Do you want a hand, bro? Do you want a hand? Can you tell me why there's a wild Peter in the background? Hey, Pete.
He sometimes wanders in off the plains.
What's going on over there? Care to explain, or is that secret?
Doing an autopsy on his Volvo 1UZ.
Has that got something to do with that Corolla out the front?
No. Is it a 4-cylinder?
Oh yeah, I did say it was a 4-cylinder, didn't I?
We're onto the shifter. I've been complaining about this since day one, and I will continue to complain about it because it's painful. People were asking what's the process for working out how to get this column shift to work with the transmission or other combinations of that, and the answer is I don't know. I just wing it and work it out, because I'm sure there'd be some smart chap that would have some sort of spreadsheet or some physics to work it out, but that's not me. So what we're trying to do just to start with is, it is a GM car and it is a GM transmission, so that will probably help us a little bit. When you're putting Japanese transmissions in, it's harder again, because GM has an odd thing where it has 1.5 times the distance for park to reverse, which usually buggers you up when you're trying to put other transmissions or shifters with it. But this car should be like that already, so that's okay. We've got this is Woody's shifter out of his old Cressida. It's about the only thing left of value out of it. So what I'm going to do first is just measure the distance between the anchor point of this and the part that pulls the cable, which is there.
Why don't you like Cressidas, bro?
I do like Cressidas. I make it at about 2 inches, and that's pretty much the distance that give or take a millimetre of what the pull is on that's the lever, and that's the gate for a Turbo 700. So initially we're going to work off, let's go 2 inches away from the pivot point on the shaft that's still hanging out the side of the steering column. We'll start there and see what happens. I genuinely don't know whether it'll work properly or not, but you've got to start somewhere. So we'll start there. We'll see how it behaves. There's a lot of other factors. There's the indicator box on top of the steering column as well that shows you what gear you're in. It's obviously not going to have enough numbers because this is a 4-speed auto and it was 3-speed, and the GM 4-speed does have 4 positions rather than, say, a Toyota or other models that have 3 plus an overdrive. So let's start with that and see what happens. Don't melt your shifter cable. You can see the original linkage coming out of the steering column there. It's got a little gate that it slots into when you release the lever. We've actually flattened out the other side of it a little bit because the cable wants to run about there.
Where's the cable?
Cable's here. We've got some jerry-rigged bits there that might do the job. Now we just got to try and figure out whether it actually works or not.
How handy is it having mates to help you out?
We've got unemployed electrician / Ranger owner / jet ski owner.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Has it got a 6-inch lift?
No. I've got a full-size F-Series. I haven't got the baby one yet.
Just need the baby one for getting into tight boat ramps for your jet ski. What are you going to do with the dual cab 79?
Oh, probably tow it with the Dodge.
Fair enough. It's got it all worked out.
Do you reckon if you anchor that how it is now that it'll work? I might be being way too ambitious.
If it does, I'll be incredibly happy, but I think you're being ambitious. But we've got to start somewhere. Just modified another shifter bracket that came in the box full of B&M shifter parts. Hopefully we can just bolt that onto the firewall there and it'll be the anchor that we require. Park, Pete.
Park.
Go down to reverse.
Reverse.
Yep. Neutral. Yep.
Neutral.
D.
D for maximum respect.
Yep. 3, 2. Next.
Yep.
That's working, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all right. Next.
Second first.
Is that actually selects first, is it now, instead of having the...
Yeah, there's a bit of spare at the bottom of the gate, so it does go into first. Or we call it... Are we calling it first or second first?
Well, that's first. The other one's second first. Or is it first second? I don't know. Park. Reverse. Neutral. D for maximum respect. Third. First. First.
Ah. So it stays in S for... What's S for again, Al? Sports. Or second?
Second.
That was right.
I am so
Why
smart.
is it D for maximum respect? What is that again? That's a commo thing, isn't it?
Select D. It's like you go from reverse. You go backwards in reverse flat out, and then you select D for maximum respect. And then you do like the massive single peeler.
Did you do that in your VN back in the day?
I had a V8 in one, so I didn't need to go backwards at full speed. And I just did a single peeler.
I remember Kyle Parker doing that in his 323, they rolled down the hill, roll backs, and then back into first gear.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Remember KP?
Yeah. Got a bit done today. Exhaust all finished off. That's a good thing. That was a bit of a pain. So if you've got a HQ and you're getting an exhaust done in that size diameter, expect to pay. It is a very, very tight squeeze. It's in there anyway, so I reckon it will sound quite good. Shifter cable, it works. It's a little bit stiff between park and reverse. Modifying things like that, sometimes it happens. It's also old and probably worn out in the column area. But it's going to do the job. It'll change, sit in D, and he'll have maximum respect when he's doing a skid. If you want to have a column shift, I recommend to not. They're a pain in the ass and they are really difficult to shift properly if you've got a manually shifted car. I know two of my mates have made me do it on their cars, but I still don't like it. I'd rather have a decent shifter on the floor that actually works properly. So, do as you will. Your choice. Woody is up my case. From his editorial point of view, he wants the engine to be started this episode, so tomorrow we're going to get some bits that we've been waiting for and try and bundle all the engine bits together and transmission dipstick and that sort of thing. Time the engine with the ECU, put some plugs in it, hopefully fire it up, hopefully not hear too many rattles, lifters or any of those things that make your bunghole pucker when you're starting up your brand new engine. Hopefully we'll avoid that. In the meantime, it is pretty hot here. Almost summer. Oh no, it is summer, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's hot. It's always hot here. So I'm going to have a lemon squash.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bro.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Vacuum line has been routed to the internal map sensor on board the Haltech ECU. Al has also installed the engine oil dipstick and a new windscreen washer bottle. Al is configuring the settings in the ECU. This includes setting up many items like the injector size, idle control settings, and also coolant temperature and throttle position sensor calibrations. If you want to know more about configuring your ECU, check out episode 10 of the VL Commodore build series. A timing light is used to set the ignition timing. A distinctive white mark on the crank pulley helps to identify top dead centre, and the engine is then cranked over. The timing light will flash whenever spark occurs on cylinder 1. The trigger offset is changed in the ECU until the engine is timed correctly. The spark plugs are then installed and the engine is ready to be fired up.
We've got a vac line run to the inlet manifold for the ECU, plug the ECU in. We've cranked it over and found top dead center on number 1 plug, number 1 lead. So that's our reference point. That's all good. Plugs in, leads on. Now we're going to spray a bit of fuel in there and see if it will just fire up on its own. So we're just using a bit of carby cleaner rather than turning the injectors on now. This has got a very large cam in it, so it probably won't run very well until a tuner gets a hold of it. So I just want to add a little bit of fuel in sparing amounts just to see if it'll fire up of its own accord. That way we know that the ignition system is okay, and that's probably one of the bigger hurdles. Then we're going to put some fuel in the tank, check for leaks, then switch the injectors on and see if we can get it to run okay.
Yep.
That's heaps, bro. Might need to give it some throttle.
Bit of throttle.
Yep. That's the mower fuel, bro.
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
Same. The Cox runs on only the finest octane. Fuel's in. We've got to check for leaks, of course. Everything's brand new. Then we'll turn the injectors on and see what happens.
It's looking pretty sweet.
You good to go?
Yeah, I think so.
You puckering?
You do have oil pressure.
It's a bit tappy-tappy.
To be expected, everything's new.
Tappity tap.
Give it a little bit of time.
Maybe I stuffed up that lifter when I spec'd them.
We'll probably just run it hot and then redo them anyway. That's, as I said, it's not a maintenance-free system anymore. But it goes, so that's a good thing.
How good's that?
I got no throttle, so I can't hit rev limiter. It's actually, I have no idea how it's running. It's probably lean as hell. We'll just get we'll borrow Dave's dual wideband and plug it in, and that way we got some monitoring to do. Doesn't sound all that nasty, really, does it?
Did sound pretty tame.
I expected
It sounded good, I think.
Yeah. I reckon that might be it for this episode. We finally got the iron line to raw. Ted Bullpit's very happy about that. The engine's looking resplendent in there. I'm really happy about it.
Does look pretty good.
I'm very happy about it running, because it's always a good thing when nothing explodes straight up. So we've got a fair bit to do still. We've got to put, it's got no coolant in it, so we didn't run it for long. Transmission, we somehow missed out on a dipstick, so we're just waiting for one of those. It has got transmission fluid in it, so don't spaz out on the internet. It's the transmission was dyno tuned or dynoed, like tested before it left Phoenix, so they actually run them completely full of fluid, so it's still got fluid inside it. Once we get that, we will fill it up properly, and then it'll run out the back because we still haven't got our tail shaft. So tail shaft's probably the main item that we need now. You might have, well, we have mentioned we've been filming this week to week. We literally are doing the work that you're watching a week prior. Woody's editing it in the second half of the week and you're seeing it the following week. So we haven't actually been able to plan anything much at all. We've just been working on it, trying to get stuff done, trying to get it finished. Now we probably have to try and plan of getting it tuned. We haven't really gone into that yet, but we'll make some calls and see if a few mates with dynos can help us out. Hopefully we'll get our tail shaft and get everything sorted and there's no dramas and we might be able to get it on the dyno for next episode. So hopefully everything doesn't leak like the rear main and these old power steering units that are completely unknown to me. They were just in a box with dust on them. So fingers crossed everything will work, but I'm pretty happy with it so far. So again, thanks for watching and we'll see you next week.
Is that it?
That's enough, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but like, we're just ending it there?
Well, it's heaps of footage, bro.
Yeah, there is. Can we start it up again?
It's got no coolant, bro.
Kind of like an Instagram story or something like that?
It's got no coolant.
Yeah, but just get... Well, it'll be cold by now.
Nah.
Just start it back up and we're good to go.
Bruh. All right. You get on the throttle. Someone hasn't made the cable yet.
You get on the throttle.
I can't. I'm here.
I got the camera.
Arms aren't that long, bro.
What was that about starting your car from revving when it's untuned?
We've been through this.
And maybe it's a bit lean. What do you reckon?
Do as I suggest, not as I do. Yeah, she might be a touch lean. A little bit
Stoked.
rattly.
Is it time for a lemon squash yet?
Time for a lemon squash.
I want to get myself a 3X bronze.
3X bronze.
They're sold out already.
Really?
First day, sold out.
Mike Nolan's probably been selling them to his mates.
Maybe you can hook me up. He's been doing cashies.